Alright, here we have Cyber Mission being played on Xbox Series X, courtesy of Easy Soft. I want to thank them for the review opportunity. This is the port that we got on current consoles, which is, I believe, of the Sega Genesis Mega Drive game I've covered previously in the channel, at least the demo version of it. This plays really well. Plays very similar to the Genesis version, although I will say that I prefer this version of the Genesis version just because of the analog sticks. It definitely just feels like a better arcade style experience given the analog sticks versus a generic feeling D-pad. But the visuals are really good. I like how crisp they are. Sound effects are great. I kind of wish there was like a like a CRT filter available. There just isn't. In fact, there isn't anything in the way of any type of filter of any kind. And what you see is what you get. This is, from what I can tell, this is a one-to-one port here, and I could be wrong. It could be that the Genesis port is the port of this game. I don't quite know. But what I can tell you is they play very similar. The difference being, I don't think there's a ship section in the Genesis version, but there is in this one. You start out playing as the ship, which is kind of a different, just kind of different altogether. I don't recall a side-scrolling shooter where you play a giant freighter-like ship in space. I think it was kind of a nice change of pace, as opposed to traditional shooters like this and this game in general. Just kind of neat to see that. Now I forget. I don't think there's any way to. I thought there was a way that we pick a place you can stand to where you wouldn't sit, where you wouldn't get zapped, but I can't recall where that is off the top of my head. So I'm not gonna be able to beat this first boss, unfortunately. But actually, let me go ahead and just actually show you the actual beginning of the game here. I'm gonna skip the cutscene. Let's kind of show you the first stage, or I guess the prologue stage. Oh no, it's the first stage, I think, actually. So it's got a close up of the ship, which is nice. Stage 1. But you essentially control a giant spaceship in space, and you got two guns to fire. You got a cannon here with A button, and then you got the B button to fire a larger cannon. You can orientate the cannon with the left and right triggers. If the gun gets hit, you lose health. That is the only, as far as I can tell, that is the only hit section the ship has, which you'd think would be, not easy to hit, or pretty easy to survive, and it's not the case. The ships that you're fighting against have surprising accuracy, and can pretty much hit you without even trying. But I do kind of like this first stage here. It's definitely different than what you'd find with traditional shmups. I don't think I've ever seen one where you play a big giant ship floating through space, taking down other ships like this. It's pretty cool. It's animated pretty well enough. I mean, it looks better than I guess it might look trying to do something like this. I mean, I think it was done relatively well, considering, again, I think it's the first time that a shmup like this has done this. And it looks good. It plays very well. And it's just different. It's very different. Now, I am probably going to lose this stage. Oh, I was trying to get there. Oh, whoa, that was a close one. Sometimes you can get away with just kind of floating on top and dodging bullets. But again, it also depends on the spawning of the enemies there. Great, so we got the first stage done. Now this is the first stage. You play as the main character. This is two-player cooperative, which I'm not quite sure how the ship thing would play out. I'm sure one would control one gun and one would control the other, I assume. Or maybe one could control the gun, one could control the ship. I don't quite know. But this is the first stage here. Similar to the previous time I covered this, you've got one button that'll move, that'll have the satellites moving. You have a lock button, you can lock it in place. And then you just have one button to fire. And essentially it's just dodging enemies, taking them out, getting points, and just trying to survive. Not unlike you'd find with like Forgotten Worlds or other side-scrolling shmups. And this game does, I believe, take inspiration, strong inspiration from Forgotten Worlds. And it shows. It's not a bad thing. It's a decent game. It's a fun game. It looks really good, like I said, on the Series X. It looks amazing. It does look better on this than it does on the Genesis. And again, I think I prefer this control scheme over the Genesis as well. Do I feel that this game is a better fit on the Genesis? I'd say yes. As good as this game looks, this game feels like it belongs to the Genesis and really didn't necessarily need to come to modern consoles, but I'm glad it's here because it's a cool shmup. And for those who have a Genesis or want an HD experience, we'll be able to do that with this game. And again, I think this version differs from the Genesis counterpart in a few different ways. And it's definitely a game I would suggest checking out. I'm going to go and interview here. I want to thank XBSX for the opportunity. I want to thank you for watching, subscribing, and as always, next time. Take care and have a game.